everyone, welcome back. Today I have some thrift flips to decorate and help save money for spring this season. If you're new here, you like home decor and DIYs on a budget, stick around by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you never miss out. All right, let's get into it. For this first thrift flip, I picked up this bag of angels for $6.99. Well, they're little like cherubs, I guess. They're like a porcelain material and they had 3 different kinds, but there were 6 in a bag. And I decided that I wanted to make them look more like stone. So I had this stone textured spray paint and I gave it a coat of that, but it wasn't really looking good. So I decided that I needed to go in with some of this gray spray paint that I had, and I spray painted it second with this gray spray paint, and then I came back in again with the stone textured spray paint, and that made it look more like stone or concrete. It made it look more garden-y, I guess. So that is what I was trying to achieve, and I love how they turned out. They are perfect to just put in your garden for spring and summertime. The next item I got at the thrift store were these spoons and forks for, well, it was actually 50% off that $3.99 tag, so I got it for $2. I'm going to make garden markers with them, so I need to pound down the spoons and the forks so that way they are flat. So I just took a brick and placed the spoon on top of it and then pounded it down with the hammer to get it really flat. Just make sure when you're doing this you're wearing eye protection and you're being really careful. And then I just did this with all of the utensils, and it was really easy to do once you get going, but you definitely have to do it on a hard surface like a brick or a piece of concrete. So I needed something to stamp my letters into my silverware, so I bought this metal stamping kit off of Amazon. It came with those 2 orange boxes filled with upper and lowercase letters, and then that hammer, and then that little round silver thing to place your metal pieces on to hammer into. So all you have to do is just place your metal stamps onto your metal piece and then use the hammer and hit it up at the top, and it turns out pretty well. You just want to make sure that you don't move around and you're kind of holding it as steady as possible so that way you get a clear stamp. I went over it with a black Sharpie so that way the letters would stand out a little bit more. I think the first couple times that I did it didn't turn out as well because I was kind of practicing and getting the rhythm down, but by the end of it, I was able to make them stand out a little bit more and got a little bit better at the lettering. So I think these look super cute in the garden, and they're perfect for marking your plants this spring. This next thrift flip, I got this old light fixture from the thrift store for $2.99. And it is perfect to put a little terrarium in or a fairy garden. So that's what I'm gonna do. I just removed the top piece, and then I took all the light bulbs out, removed all of the stickers off of everything. And since it doesn't need to be a working light anymore, I'm just gonna go ahead and use some wire cutters to cut the wires on the bottom off just so that way it sits nicely. Now I do want this to light up, and since it's going to be a fairy garden, I have some of these fairy lights from Dollar Tree that are battery operated. So I just added a little dab of hot glue in between the little panes of the glass, so you won't be able to actually see the wires of the fairy lights. So I'm just gonna hot glue those in between the panes, and I just did a couple around the top panes, and then I just did them around the top edge, if that makes sense. And you can't see the lights at all, but it glows when it's at night, so it looks really pretty. Now I just need to decorate the inside of my fairy garden. So I just used this reindeer moss from Dollar Tree and I glued it all around the bottom of my light, just covering up those black pieces and just covering up the bottom. You could use rocks, or if you're actually planting something, you could put some dirt in there, maybe some dirt for like succulents or something like that would be nice. And then I am going to decorate this with some fairy garden stuff that I already had. This whole set was actually from Aldi's. It came with the fence and the little chairs and tables and the fairy that I'm going to put in here. And it actually came with a house too, but the house was too tall to put inside of this. So there's all kinds of these different light fixtures from a long time ago. So if you find a taller one, you can do a lot more, I think, with these, but this one worked out really nicely. I added these dried florals around just to kind of make it look a little more wild and give it a little bit more of some depth to it. Lastly, I just placed these rocks that I had from Dollar Tree around. I hot glued them down. I also hot glued everything else down just to make sure it didn't move around on me. And then I placed the glass top back on and screwed the little cap back on, and this is how it turned out. I think it's really pretty. It's beautiful to use inside or outside for spring. I love how the lights really make it glow, and it's just perfect to set up for the evening. When I saw this birdhouse at the thrift store, I had to have it. I think it's so pretty. It's got the mosaic look to it. It was only $4.99, so I grabbed it and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. But then I came home and remembered that I had this spindle, which I'm not really sure why I bought it a long time ago, but I have it and I'm gonna put it to good use with this birdhouse. So I'm just gonna attach the spindle to the birdhouse with these corner brackets that I had, and it was really easy to attach them, but I did have to have a level surface. So if you don't have someone to help you, definitely a set of books will come in handy for this. So I just grabbed a couple books so that way my spindle would line up in the middle of the bottom of my birdhouse, so that way I could screw the corner brackets onto the birdhouse and then also screw them on to the spindle. So I used all 4 of the brackets so that way it would be nice and sturdy and stay on the spindle. And I just flipped the birdhouse over and around to make sure I got everything in. And then I needed a stand so that way this birdhouse stood up. Now you could definitely put this in a planter and you wouldn't need a stand. You could just dig it into your planter and put some flowers around it, but I wanted this to be freestanding, so I cut 4 2x4s that I had out in my garage, and I can't give you the exact measurements, but I think they were probably about 8 inches each one of them. And then I just placed them around the bottom of my spindle and use some screws to screw them into each side of the spindle. And you can see how they are kind of offset, and that's going to help so that way the birdhouse doesn't tip over, so that way it has a nice sturdy base. And this is how it turned out. I think it is beautiful. I put it on my front porch for now. I'll probably move it out to my garden later on when everything starts blooming and it's a little bit warmer outside, because it's still pretty cool here, but I love how it turned out. Lastly, I think this is such a great idea. I've seen so many people do this, and that is to take a lamp base and make it into an outdoor lamp. So I found one at my local Goodwill for, I believe it was $2.99, and I just cut the wire off the bottom because I'm not going to plug it in. And then I gave it a coat of gold spray paint, but you could use whatever color goes with your patio. And then I found a lampshade at Goodwill for $1.99 that fit on my lamp. and I just cleaned it up and placed it on top of my lamp. And then I took a solar light from Dollar Tree, just removed the stake off the bottom, and then I just used a little bit of heavy duty glue to glue it in the base. And I think this is going to be perfect for outside. You just let the sun charge it and you have a beautiful outdoor lamp for the season. You don't have to plug it in. You don't have to do anything else. It looks great on your patio and it accents for the spring. Thank you all so much for watching today. I hope this video inspired you to get out there and thrift some items for spring this season. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.